don't seem to understand. A shame you seemed an honest man, and all the fears you hold so dear will turn to whisper in your ear. And you know what they say might hurt you, and you know that it means so much. And you don't even feel the pain. I am falling, I am fading, I have lost it all, and you don't seem the lying kind.
Alrighty, hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the AfroMattt Show. This episode 243. If this is your first time here, welcome. This is news, entertainment, education, comedy. Sometimes like we're doing a little bit of literature today. It's a mixed bag. You never really know what you're gonna get, but you know it's gonna be an hour. That's about all you can guarantee. Even though last episode, if you check, is not an hour. So you can guarantee it's about an hour. That being said, let's just hop right into it. I did finish a book. I finished, this is called House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. Jewish. Definitely Jewish. Also, if you don't like the book review portion of this broadcast, you can skip ahead for this one probably about 10 to 15 minutes because this is a doozy of a book. And we'll get into all the news and stuff, and of course, whatever, Trump got shot at again. We'll get there, guys. We will get there. We'll dive deep. But on a much more serious note, and a much more important note, we have to review some literature. Look at that. The book cover is pretty cool too, right? You see that like the holographic kind of like raised texture. So this book is, I don't know where to even start with this book. This book is following 3 separate storylines all interlaid on each other at the same time. So think about like 3 different filters on a camera at the same time. And at certain points, certain filters will be on, but they're the story's all happening kind of at the same time. But also, in that same sense, the story isn't real. And actually, if you think about it, there's almost a 4th story being told, which is by Mark Danielewski himself. So let's walk through the stories. So first off, the main bulk of the like 600 pages is an essay or like dissertation written by a guy named Zampano. So Zampano is a blind old man who wrote a dissertation on a movie. Now, this brings us to our second story being told, which is which is inside of the movie. So we're already layers deep. So this movie is called The Davidson Record, and we'll go over what that story is and how they kind of relate. And then the third story is by Johnny Truant, who finds the briefcase of Zampano after Zampano dies, and his story is told through footnote commentary in a different font style interspersed inside of Zampano's dissertation on the movie The Davidson Record. So let's work outside in, and let's talk about the main story, which everything kind of like turns around, and it's about the Davidson Record. So in this movie, which doesn't exist in the world, in our world, it doesn't exist, and also in this movie that Zampano is writing about, Zampano is writing about this movie, but it also doesn't exist in that world either. So And Johnny Truant is always making like comments. He's like, I don't know where he's getting any of this information from, by the way. He's like, I tried to fact check this. This movie does not exist. And of course he's like slowly going insane. But and there's layers to this too. So The Davidson Record is a movie where a guy finds out that his house is actually, so he buys a nice Virginian house. It's a really cute house. And after some time, his family and 2 kids, he has a daughter and a son and a wife named Karen. And after a while, he finds out that something's not right with his house, and he measures it. And he goes on the outside and measures the inside, and he finds out that the inside is actually a 1/4 inch larger than the outside, which kind of breaks his brain and causes him to start spiraling. And spirals are a major theme in this book. It's even on the cover of the book, a spiral. So he literally starts spiraling. He gets one of his friends who's like an architect to start like laser scanning the house, and then his friend who's in a wheelchair is also kind of like shocked. He's like, okay, yeah, no, even the lasers are fucked up, and like maybe we tuned them wrong or something, but yeah, this house is a 1/4 inch too big, which doesn't make sense. And then, so fast forward a little bit, then there is a door which appears on their east wall. And ideally, when you open the door, there should be nothing there, just a closet. But they open the door, and there's a hallway. And the hallway goes on for, I mean, they can't see the end of the hallway. It's just a dark hallway. They call it with ashen walls. So it's all black, and you can't even see the end of it. And which doesn't make sense, because when they look out the window, they can see the backyard on the other side of that door. So it's no space. It doesn't exist in our reality or something. Much like the movie, much like the characters and the inside this book. So all of it, we're dealing with layers here. And this was a super cool book to read. There was parts where I was like blasting through it, and so first off, he wakes up one night and he investigates inside. He can't help himself. He is compelled to enter the hallway. This is where he finds out that this hallway is actually shifting, and he almost gets lost. And he makes it to this grand entrance room. They call it the grand room or something. But it's like this huge room, and at the center of it is a staircase, a spiral staircase. And then he starts panicking because he can't find his way back. But through just luck or the house itself, it guides him back, and he ends up running back into the arms of his daughter, who's screaming, who said she had a nightmare. And then that's when, now that he knows that there's an inside of this place and there's levels, that's when he puts the squad together. So then he gets the squad together, and this is still in the Davidson Record, and this is a movie, and the movie may or may not have been real, but it doesn't exist, which, just stick with me. It's a roller coaster. But it's told, so inside of the movie, it's shot documentary style, kind of like with like handheld cameras and stuff. And so inside the movie, it's kind of like what is that movie? Not Poltergeist. What's the Paranormal Activity? He sets up like cameras all around his house, and that's what he makes this movie. That's how he makes this movie. So there's even like a thing like, is this movie real? Did they use any CGI? There's a part where they break down how much it would have cost to like film this with CGI and practical effects and stuff, and it's like, this guy did not have $40 million to do this. But I mean, that's besides the point, because the movie doesn't exist, or maybe it does. But so he gets the squad together. This guy named Holloway, who's like a diver, and a couple cave kids, and like a climber. And they go in there. It's like the 3 of them. One name's Jed, one's named something. But they send them in there, and they go in. They get to the spiral staircase. They set up shop, and they're like, you know what? The spiral staircase goes down pretty deep. They come back. They regroup, get a ton of supplies, and then they go out there. for like a week. They're planning to go down for a week and then come back with news, and they're like leaving trails and they're drawing arrows and stuff. But the thing about this, the hallways, the black rooms are endless and they're always shifting, so you can't really even ever find your way back. Which is why they bring like a cord with them so they can like leave it behind. They bring back a ton of string, which obviously brings back vibes of the Labyrinth, which was where. And so now this brings me to my first major theme. The first major theme or motif going on is the idea of the labyrinth, and the Minotaur. So inside this book, it's all black text except for 3 cases. The first case is the word house, which is always highlighted in blue, or I guess blue text, even when in other languages. And the second is any mention of the Minotaur, which is highlighted, or the text is red and struck out in red. And the third is purple, which only appears twice. And we'll get to that. I think it only appears twice. Maybe a couple times, or maybe just once. But it's the rarest of the colors. But it's also guys, listen, it's a combination of the colors. Are you hanging in with me? Okay, we're digging deep here. So they go and investigate the cave, and I mean shit really goes sideways. But now we're going to Johnny Truant. So Johnny Truant is going absolutely insane. He's the guy who found this dissertation about this movie, and he's reading it and sorting it, and he's trying to build. He's the one putting this book together. And Johnny Truant is going legitimately insane because he starts hallucinating about this beast, the Minotaur. So now there's this motif of a Minotaur inside of the book, or inside of the movie, and then there's a Minotaur following him in his waking life. So he puts tinfoil all over his house. He looks like a crackhead. He like loses his job and shit. He doesn't talk to his friends for years. He doesn't get any sleep. This book is deteriorating his brain. And there's several times when reading this book, you literally feel like you're going just as insane as the guy. You feel like you're going just as insane. Because there's times when you like flip to a page and you're like, dude, and you're like scribbling words. And then there's this part with like Morse code, and you're like I'm decoding the Morse code. I'm searching up Morse code words. And I'm like, okay, what does this mean? There's like a page that's like fuck in Morse code, and then another one that says buttons in Morse code. I'm like, what does this all mean? How does this make sense? Will this come in handy later? There's like secret codes encoded in like letters. And then parts of the book, and I'll try to show this best I can, are literally, as you're reading the book itself gets more and more insane. So there's like pages where it's almost completely empty except for a few words, and that's not getting picked up on the camera. There's pages where the text is sliding out from the page, or like kind of turning topsy-turvy. Sometimes you have to flip the book over to read pages. And this is all kind of like, here's a good example. I'll try to show this for the camera. Like, this is like, some of the pages are just kind of like bizarre like this. The layout is, I mean, it makes you feel like you're going insane. It's a pretty cool effect. And you're like, what does this mean? And you're like highlighting things. You're like, this makes sense. I'm highlighting every use of the word, like buttons now. I'm like, okay, now buttons. I'm thinking about buttons. So yeah, Johnny Truant is going insane. Now, let's talk about Johnny Truant inside of the book. Now, Johnny Truant is an only child. His father died of a heart attack, which Coincidentally, Davidson inside of the movie also died of a heart attack. His dad died of a heart attack, and his mom was ran away from him, and Johnny Truant's mom was taken to an insane asylum. Now, this brings me to like a fourth aspect of this book, which is the letters between John Truant and his mother. So this is like the realest, maybe like the most grounded part of the book, where it's letters between Johnny Truant and his mom, who's in an insane asylum, and they're writing back and forth. And then some of these letters deteriorate as the mom goes insane, and she starts leaving secret clues that you as the reader decode, but that are for Johnny Truant to decode. And Johnny Truant is getting these messages, and he's also slowly going insane while sorting through Zampano's setup of all of his dissertation. And he's also going insane because he thinks there's a Minotaur attacking, or like following him, and that's gonna get him when he's not looking. So yeah, they investigate the thing, and now we're back to Davidson record. They investigate the thing. It goes batshit. Holloway ends up he's the one who brings a gun, but he thinks that he can hunt the Minotaur. So he starts shooting and starts like chasing the Minotaur that's inside of this place, because they hear like this growl every now and then. Or they call it a roar every now and then, or I guess they do call it a growl too. But he chases it, and then he ends up shooting. He comes out of a door, and then he shoots one of the kids that's with him caving, because he's like, "Oh shit, I thought you were the Minotaur." And then he runs away, and then Davidson, the guy, ends up going inside for a rescue mission with his brother Tom, and they only bring back one of the kids who has like severe trauma, and then the other kid is like dead and dying and bleeding out. So that goes insanely bad, and then eventually the guy, Holloway, blows his head off, I think. So, I mean, yeah, so the investigation went really bad. So then they should close the door. Obviously, close the door. We're not going in there again. We're locking it up. They lock it good and tight. And then this is when things start to go topsy-turvy with Davidson and his wife. Their relationship falls apart. And then, I mean, fast forward. I'm not going to give away the whole book, but I do want to go over some of the major themes, because this book does attack some pretty interesting themes in a pretty interesting way. Obviously, the Minotaur, I think, represents some sort of like guilt, maybe, that they're carrying with them. So the Minotaur is a guilt that's following them. And in the case of Davidson, he wants to examine the guilt. So he is compelled towards the guilt, whereas Johnny Truant is terrified of the guilt. And then there's like the sense of trauma, because both Davidson, both their fathers died when they were very young, Johnny and Davidson, and both mothers left them when they were very young. Johnny's mother spilt oil all over his arms, and he has these crazy scars that look like the ocean on his arm. And then they have this guilt. They're both like really crushed with this guilt. Obviously, so Davidson, his guilt is, well, he's a Pulitzer Prize winning photographer, but he took a photo of this girl who was dying of starvation, and he won a Pulitzer Prize for it, but the girl died literally of starvation while he's taking the photo, and her name's Delisle, and which kind of sounds like denial, but that's, I mean, part of it probably. But he keeps on thinking to himself, he's like, I could have saved him. He's like, and then behind the girl who's like dying, there's like a vulture, and he's like, who's the real vulture? Is it me, or is it, you know? So he's dealing with that. And then Johnny has a ton of trauma, because he was abused by his stepdad, Raymond, who was an ex-Navy He probably has some guilt that he never actually reunited with his mother when she went to the insane asylum. So there's these parallels of trauma and guilt, and that's the blackness. That is the representation of the never-ending, always shifting the labyrinth that they're in. And I think that the labyrinth itself. So then there's this really interesting. I'll finish this up soon, but you might find this interesting because I really do like this book. The idea of, so you have to rewind to the myth of the Minotaur. So the myth of the Minotaur is about, and they explain it in the book too. It's not like you have to go out and do research. And there's a reason why he explains it, because it's pretty vital, I think, to the storyline. There is, so a king had a son who was horribly deformed, aka was a Minotaur. So his wife was obviously a little promiscuous with a bull to form a half bull half. So the kid's an abomination. So the kid is an abomination, and the king has to hide the kid, because he's like, yeah, I can't. He's like, I'm not gonna kill my own son, but I'm not gonna not kill him. He's like, I'm gonna build a labyrinth for him so he can't get out, and I'll throw a couple kids in there every now and then to like feed him. So that's sort of, I think it was Sirius, maybe the king Emperor Sirius or something. It's like a myth thing, but that's the labyrinth, and there's some of the best writing is part of the Minotaur section, where the king has his own guilt, and then there's like different recreations where he actually ends up loving his own son and comes up with that, but and the shifting walls is a protection, and the idea of a house itself with so the idea of a house is a protective shell, and then that brings me to spirals. We'll talk about spirals here in a second, but shells are pretty important too. But all of these words are walls, house, shells. These are all defense mechanisms to defend from some sort of like childhood trauma or something that they're carrying with them, and it's a major theme in the book. And the argument is the Minotaur protecting, or is he like an aggressive being inside of the thing? I mean, it is a question. I don't really know. They don't really answer it. Kind of leave it up. But let's see. I'm just gonna read some interesting. I mean, if you saw my notes on this thing, it looks like I'm genuinely going insane. There were some parts where, and I just highlight random stuff too. So some stuff reminds me of like, and this was written in 1999 too, so they didn't really have the idea of AI, but some stuff is, I mean, really kind of, what is it called? When you see the future, prophetic with how, so this little snippet that he wrote. In the future, readers of newspapers and magazines will probably view news pictures more as illustrations than reportage, since they will be well assured that they can no longer distinguish between a genuine image and one that has been manipulated. So here he's talking about Photoshop and the purity of photography and stuff, because Davidson is a Pulitzer Prize winning photographer. This rings super true with AI. I'll read that again. They can no longer distinguish between genuine image and one that has been manipulated. Even if news photographers and editors resist temptations of electronic manipulation, as they are likely to do, the credibility of all reproduced images will be diminished by the climate of reduced expectations. In short, photographs will not seem as real as they once did. This was in 1999, and he's talking about the lack of confidence in photos because of, I mean, just Photoshop and like Adobe Illustrator. Imagine with AI technology, I mean, the credibility of all reproduced images will be diminished by a climate of reduced expectations. In short, photographs will not seem as real as they once did. I mean, that's a pretty powerful idea right there. Here's another one that I highlighted. And so the writing style between John Truant and the essay are pretty stark, so you can kind of get a feel for that here. This is John Truant. I imagine some world-weary travelers camped on the side of some desolate road in some desolate land, telling a story to allay their doubts and circle their fears with distraction, laughter, and a song. A collective illusion of vision spun above their portable hearth of tinder and wood, their eyes gleaming with divine magic, born where perspective lines finally collide, or so they think. Except those stars are never born on such faraway horizons as that. The light, in fact, comes from their own gathering in their own conversations, surrounding and sustaining the fire that they have built and kept alive through the night, until inevitably, come morning, cold and dull, the songs have all been sung and the stories lost or taken, soup eaten, embers dark. So, I mean, Johnny Truant is super poetic. Lots of commas. He loves commas. He's a big comma guy. Let's see. What do we got here? Another one. Something is on the other side, hammering against it over and over again. Whatever it comes. That's talking about the Minotaur. All right, I got one more. I got two more notes here, but I'm gonna go. I'll be right back. I gotta go take a piss. All right. Here's another one that I starred. This one's talking about the Minotaur as well, but kind of adjacent to the Minotaur. Of course there's a beast, and I assure you that our belief or disbelief makes very little difference to that. Death of life gives birth to a creature darkness. And that's that's a hyphenated word that they came up with. Death of light gives birth to a creature darkness few can accept as pure absence. Thus, despite rational objections, technology's failure to overrun by the onslaught of myth. Except the vandal known as myth always slaughters reason if she falters. Myth is the tiger stalking the herd. Myth is Tom's monster. Myth is Holloway's beast. Myth is the Minotaur. So, and the reason why that's hard to read is literally some letters are burned away. And to represent that, they put parentheses around them or brackets. So it's literally kind of hard to read. He literally omits words. What is? I got one more thing. Oh yeah, this is an interesting point here. This was an interview at the very end with Karen, and this is the end of the movie, is an interview with Karen talking to different people, and she's talking to this person who's a critic, and then she says, "Notice how only men go into it. Why? Simple. Women don't have to." And this is how I'll end this, because this is the major theme, and I do like when books do this. They don't just offer problems, but they offer a solution. And this book is the solution. I'll explain. So, and this is something I was thinking of, and I've heard this from I'm not going to claim that I came up with this, but I don't remember who had said it, but there's a distinct line between the creativity in men and creativity in women. Men are, and I don't want to trigger anyone, but men are there are obviously several hundred, several thousand more famous men artists than there are women artists. And you can say, well, this is because women weren't allowed to read or write for a while. While that's true, I think that there is something, I think this may be even like Carl Jung or something, but there is something that is deeply, I think, psychological with men. So women can create. Women are the master creators of the entire world. They're the only one who can create life, right? And that's the greatest form of creation. Now, in this book, they call it vagina envy, which I kind of like the term, because it's pretty close to that. It's, we wish we could give birth. We wish that we could create something as precious and as beautiful as a human life. We can never, as a man, we can never bring a thing into the world, and psychologically, this hurts us. So that's why men overcompensate by becoming great artists, because that's the only thing that they can do. The only thing that they can create is great art, and that's not even as close as the creation of life. It is, I mean, truly, what women do is close to godliness. They create a human being. My sister literally just had a kid, and it's like a dude. It's like a little guy. And it's like a man will never be able to even come close to that. The only thing that we can do is just create art, paintings, words, and we become good at that. So, and it's a vagina envy. No, I guess maybe it's a womb envy. And that's I think that's the main point of this book, because it is important that the only people that go into the labyrinth are men. And it's because the women don't have to. She's outside looking at the door with the kids. She has already created the two most important things for her. Whereas Navidson has to go inside of the labyrinth and struggle with a battle against himself, and against the Minotaur, and against the labyrinth itself, in order to bring something out. And he wants to create something from the labyrinth, which is the movie that he's making. So, and then at the very end, Karen ends up healing her trauma from the whole event by making a movie called The Man I Loved, which is a snippet of Navidson. So the whole point, and guys, I'm almost done. This is 30 minutes. This is a good breakdown, guys. This is a good breakdown of this book. I do recommend you go read this book. It's pretty hard, but it looks thick. But there are some chapters that are completely pretty much empty, and then there are some chapters that are obviously pretty dense. But it does go by pretty fast. I mean, you'll be holding on to your pen for dear life, like scribbling, like trying to catch up with you're like, what is going on? But it's a fun ride. But she cures herself with creating that. And the whole point of this book, I think, is you can cure your inner self through creativity. I think is the whole point of this book. Broken down, boiled down, is through creativity is healing. So that being said, I mean, let's get right into it, because we have spent a lot of time. I'll talk a little bit. one more thing. The thing about the spirals, they appear in a few different spots. There's a dream sequence where, well, of course, the major spiral staircase, and of course, the spiral into insanity. And then there's a dream sequence where at the top of a hill, there's a giant shell that is the shape of that's the giant snail shell on its side that's so huge, it's like the size of a building. So they walk into the mouth of it, and they can't even see the top. And then Davidson in this dream goes deeper and deeper into the shell, as a kind of a parallel to going deeper and deeper into the labyrinth itself. They're and I'm not really going to go into the mother letters, because there is sort of an angle where maybe this book was written by the mother, and that's why there's several spots in the book where they utilize French, and the mother is French, but she knows several languages, but she speaks, her primary is English, but then French. There's lots of points when inside of the Zampano essay, he uses French or other words. So maybe it's the mother, and then Johnny Truant found his mother's, and then he maybe invented it, or maybe the mother is dealing with guilt. Maybe she actually, this is my theory, maybe instead of actually dropping the oil and burning Johnny, I think maybe she killed and ended up accidentally killing her son Johnny. And then that guilt is the labyrinth that she made for herself. And then she built this character, Davidson, and she wrote this essay as Zampano, and then that's what we're reading. I don't really know. There is, it's not really a clue, but on the cover it says House of Leaves, and then at the very bottom it says a novel in purple. And purple is the mother's color, which is interesting. Just interesting. This book is, I've never read anything quite like this. I want to give it an 8 out of 10 just because it was, it wasn't poorly written, but it was a lot of the essay stuff is like just a little fluffy. There's a couple gimmicks and stuff. It's like, it's not bad. It's just, 8 is a really solid score. I might even bump it up to like 8.5. Honestly, it was like an 8.5. I want to give it like 9 just because the writing was a little bit not bad, just a little cheesy at some points. It was well written. 8.5, I just don't know why. But 8.5 feels like as high as I'll go. It was a good book. I enjoyed it. Obviously, I enjoyed it. I talked for 30 minutes about it. So, all right, let's get into the news on what's happening. So Trump was just shot at. All right, let's get that music back in here to get just a quick reset here. You don't seem to understand.
Lost it all, and you don't seem to like it. A shame that I can read your mind. And all the places
Thank you, Boa. Thank you, Boa. Oh, wait. Oh, Boa, chill. Okay, here we go. All right, so Trump got shot at again. This is like the third time, I guess, he's been shot at. Here's the security camera. So Trump's numbers have been down. Obviously, Trump's numbers have been down. If you have a working brain, you realize that we are currently in a situation where we are being occupied. We have been occupied, and Trump is currently occupied. He's not making decisions. I don't think he's really making any decisions. It's mostly the big net, the big BB. And it's probably maybe even beyond him. Like Benjamin Netanyahu might be just like, the guy, but the orders might come from on high. Well, I'm not talking like Jesus. I'm talking like, some sort of like royal bloodline, something like that are just trying to get things going. So here's a clip of the runner sprinting out, the shooter sprinting out full speed. I mean, I see 1, 2, 3, 4 cops, 5 cops here, and they all let him walk by the way. So here, let's play this.
Yeah, that's the handler. So 40 just went by. It looked like he checked it twice.
Here we go.
Lieutenant Hudson, you monitoring this area?
1, 2, 3, 4. Here he is. Not one person. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, that's the guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 people in a hallway, and not one tries to trip him, jump on him, catch him. And then now they start shooting as fast as hell.
18, go for
All right, here this is. This is the dinner. This is the actual dinner event. This is, by the way, this is Oz Perlman. Oz Perlman is an Israeli asset, magician, mentalist, who famously went on Joe Rogan and guessed Joe Rogan's ATM pin number, which Joe Rogan was very upset at, which some people say was the first warning sign at Joe Rogan that he was occupied, that he was controlled. Sort of like a, hey Joe, we got this. We can get everything on you. And then since then, Joe Rogan's been like, dude, you know what? I kind of love Palantir. Haven't you noticed that Joe Rogan's like really into Palantir now? When he was on, when he was with Theo Von, he's like, can we fact check that? Theo Von's like, they're like, Palantir's like helping with the genocide. And he's like, I don't know about that. Can we, Jamie, can you pull that up? Jamie, what does he sound like? He sounds like Kermit the Frog, kind of. Can you pull that up, Jamie? Maybe not Kermit the Frog. Jamie, can you pull that up, Jamie? So Oz Perlman is, some sort of like Israeli intel. I mean, he gets this information, obviously, probably, like has Pegasus intel on their phones or something. He has access to something that lets him just see what they're typing. He's like, what's the name of your best friend? And then he probably just, like 2 hours before that, scrolled on their phone, like a mirror of their phone on his phone. I mean, I don't know. He's definitely a little suspect, but here he is talking to Trump, and it's the last thing. Imagine the last thing. Like, imagine if Trump actually died. First off, I don't think that this is real. I don't think that this happened. I don't even think that the guy that they got even really had a gun. I think they just got someone. So, but imagine if this was real and there was real danger. Imagine if the last thing that Trump saw was a magic trick from Oz Perlman. That's the grand prestige. I'll tell you that much. There was like 5 episodes ago, I was talking about it feels like we're in a magic trick. And in the magic trick, there's the promise, the turn, and then the prestige. The promise is saying, hey, this is what's going to happen. Have you ever, think of a number between 1 and 10. The turn is when you turn over maybe the wrong card and you're like, shit, were you thinking of the 9 of hearts? And then the guy's like, no. And you're like, look in your shoe. And that's the prestige. The prestige is the big reveal. You're like, what the fuck? How do you get it in my shoe? And then if you're black, you go sprinting. No way! Hell no! Hell no! That's how you react to the grand prestige. If Donald Trump was shot while talking to Oz Perlman, I would be sprinting up and down the hallway. I would be running away from the magic trick. Obviously, this is like, I think what Trump thinks is that it worked once, it'll work again. Hey guys, we're down in our ratings. Last time I was shot at, which may or may not even have happened anymore. I owe my sister a huge apology because she was saying that it was rigged or it was staged. And I'm like, how do you even stage that? I'm starting to think it's staged. I'm genuinely starting to think it's staged. Why is Trump not investigating his own shooter? Who knows? So now we've had a second one. Also, there was that one in Palm Beach Pete, that he also got attempted on. And so now this is like the third time that he's been almost shot. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, I'll just play the video a little bit. Oz Perlman showing them the magic trick. So there's the gunshots. We just heard the gunshots. So boom, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's obviously a one shot that's boom, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 quick shots, which sound like two separate guns. First off, sounds like a heavy, some sort of like rifle. I don't know if it was not some sort of like sniper, but it was like a big one. And then it was like 4 boom, 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 which I was thinking maybe were echoes, but it sounds way too close to be echoes. It sounds like someone's handgun maybe is fixing the situation, but I don't really even know what's going on because they were immediately afterwards. So boom, 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 boom. And no one's reacting. No one reacts. So no one in the room heard the gunshots. Trump didn't hear the gunshots. This Asian woman next to Trump didn't hear the gunshots. Also, why is Oz Perlman there? All right, this is everyone moving around, escorting them around. Get down, get down. The most chill. Guys, this audience reaction right here is the reaction of an audience who didn't hear a gunshot. When you hear a gunshot, like go watch Charlie Kirk, which, guys, I'm not even sure was real. Well, I think that there's a lot that could have happened, but I think that he definitely got. I don't think that he was shot. I think maybe it was the lapel situation. We've gone into this. Go look back. Lapel mic situation. Everyone there knew something had happened, obviously, because they saw Charlie Kirk literally bleeding. But they also jumped at the noise of a gunshot. And then they got down and got low. These people only got down and got low once people are like walking around. Oh, watch out, watch out. Hey, guys, get down. Get down. There's danger, danger. Okay, obviously if someone comes into a room and yells danger, get down, get down. I'm going to get down. That's what you do. But no one reacted until like that happened. I mean, they were even playing music up until like a minute in. Yeah, the music literally stops at 56 seconds. Dude, the funniest thing... The funniest thing is this guy here at the bottom. I want to know who this guy is. Because he's sitting down and he does not give a fuck. He's still eating his dessert. He's literally putting something in his mouth. I saw a picture of Kash Patel at his table, who was just like looking around like he doesn't give a fuck. This whole thing seems so staged, so fake. I don't know a single person who's like really believes this, who's like really bought into it. Like, oh, you know what? Actually, holy shit, they tried to kill Trump again. Actually, you know what? I think that it's like maybe only the boomers. And once again, it's like try not to blame the boomers. Challenge level impossible. I do blame the boomers a lot for a lot of things. And it does feel like the only people that are like ride or die for Trump are the boomers. That's like it right now. He's only got the boomers. That might be why they're trying to keep him alive so hard. Because like without the boomers, he's like nothing. His whole Israel situation, he lost all the Gen Z votes that he got in 2020. Or what is it? Yeah, it was 2024. All the Gen Z. And Gen Z, if you don't know, are not into Israel. Not into Israel that much. I would say borderline anti-Israel. So, and also like anti-war. A lot of things, I mean, Donald Trump, you got to give it to him. One of the best scam artists in the world. One of the biggest rug pulls of all time. This is like Hawk Tuah coin level rug pull, becomes president, runs as the president of peace, no more wars, I'm going to get us out of wars, enters Netanyahu, blowing Netanyahu, working the balls, working the shaft, drinking Netanyahu's cum, and getting us into a holy war on the behalf of Zionists. So, rug pull, egg on my face. Egg on my face, egg on everyone's face. Oh, wow. Now I know. And also, he would, no matter what anyone, like at this point, you know, you just kind of step back. How hard are you going to elect into this? You know, I saw a video of an Amish girl going around talking to Amish people, and it was like an Amish fair where they were doing like selling Amish goods and riding in Amish cars with those little carts with the horses. And I genuinely thought about selling everything I own, including my house, and like liquefying all my assets into a briefcase full of cash, and then moving to Amish land and like becoming Amish, like fully assimilating. Like I'll shave my mustache, keep the beard, shave the mustache. Oh wait, shave the mustache, keep the beard, right? And become fully Amish. Like I'm almost ready to check fully out. If there's ever a time when like an episode just doesn't come out for like months, I mean like months. No, either I've become fully Amish, and you can just imagine me in like Hobbiton. That's what I imagine Amish land is like, the Shire, the land of the hobbits. Everyone's building little shacks and like lifting up barns and like moving stuff, plowing the fields, milking cows, making your own butter. Then you have a sweet, you know, pie when you get home, resting on the windowsill. Dope shit like that. You get to wear only cotton clothes. By the way, I do wear only cotton clothes because I don't want to static electricilize. I don't know what I'm talking about. Polyester creates static electricity. Cotton. There's a reason they only put babies in cotton clothes. You don't want to start like blowing up with oils and shit like that. Cotton. They've got it figured out. They're making their own clothes. Amish country is what's up. So if you ever don't hear from me, it's probably because I became Amish. But let's talk about this bitch. This lady.
Disinformation and misinformation online. There will be bite-sized clips that will go viral to the point where there are Americans in this country that believe that what happened Saturday night was staged. How does this White House tackle that with social media companies out there, whether it's...
How are you guys going to take control of the narrative? How are you guys going to propagandize and make sure that the wrong opinion isn't being had? Is essentially the question. How are you going to make sure that the wrong opinion isn't being had out there? There are a lot of Americans who are pretty suspect in using their own brain for deduction out there. What are we going to do to counteract this? There's a lot of Americans that are suspicious of the government and don't take their word on a lot of things. What are we going to do to counteract this? Can you help me? Can you guide me on what you guys will be doing going forward regarding the apps that we're using and also everything else? Continue, bitch.
How does this White House tackle that with social media companies out there, whether it's X, Facebook, Instagram? How do they work with these companies to make sure that doesn't get out of control?
It's certainly a good question, Aisha. I don't have tangible answers for you on...
Dude, this girl's face is fucked up. This girl's face is fucked up. I don't know what happened to her, but she looks fucking weird. These people don't look normal. That's not a normal head. That's not a normal head. I don't care what you say. That face, that head is fucked up. And anyone can tell. You can't tell me that face is normal. She's wearing someone's head right now. I don't think that's real. I don't know what's going on. Her lips... Dude, her eyes. There's just something... There's an uncanny valley about this bitch's head. And I don't like it. I don't like it.
What we're doing with social media companies, if anything at all. What I will say is it's very important to us that we get the truth and the facts about this case and any case out there as quickly as possible.
Yeah, we can be rest assured that this will get investigated because Kash Patel will be on the job. Kash Patel, the most Indian man in politics, will the gayest Indian man in politics, also the only Indian I think in politics. Besides that one guy who's actually trying to get the Epstein investigation going. I forgot that guy's name, which is unfortunate because he's like the one guy doing anything for the Epstein files. Those are like the two Indians, I think, in the whole thing.
To dispel some of that crazy nonsense that you do see.
God, I hate this bitch, dude. And I don't say that in a mean way. I just mean that she's genuinely annoying. You know. Like sometimes that it happens like that. All right, let's go into some other news. I mean, guys, what do you want me to say about the Trump thing? It's fake. It's not real. It's fabrication. It is, guys, remember, we have to remember this. I'm going to repeat this every single episode. Plato's allegory of the cave. We are outside of the cave. This shooting was shadow puppetry. Shadow puppetry on the wall, on the cave. It's Plato's cave. We are not participating in Plato's cave. This doesn't exist. This isn't reality. This isn't reality. It's not happening. It's a fabrication. It's not real. And it's not even not real in the sense like it's not like it's fake. It's not real in the sense that it doesn't exist. It shouldn't exist to you and to me, because none of this is anything. This is all being invested in. This is energy intensive. Like to be like one of those fat liberals who like complain about everything is like energy expensive. It's all they do. These people aren't making great art. They're not saying important things. They're not thinking important thoughts. They're not broadening their mental horizons. These fat bitches who go to No Kings protests are doing none of the above because their mental energy is being siphoned for a No Kings protest that means nothing and that doesn't exist, right? So using your mental energy to be invested in a shooting that didn't happen is a siphoning of your energy that you should be using to do cool shit, think cool shit, do cool shit, make cool shit, think cool shit, do stuff, explore outside the cave, go outside, walk, enjoy the air, be present. Stop thinking about what comes next. Stop thinking about what even happened before. Just enjoy time. Think about yourself as like a what are those guys? The cavemen? Think of yourself as a caveman. Except this is a bad example because you're outside of the cave. Think of yourself as like a prehistoric, like Plato type guy, right? You just want to be out there enjoying life, just thinking about shit, thinking about your own stuff. That's what you should be doing. That's what we all should be doing. This is like mental noise. Here's an example. I mean, this is just how fake it all is. DOJ indicts Southern Poverty Law Center, claims that they were funding extremists. So the Department of Justice announced Tuesday that they have filed an indictment against the Southern Poverty Law Center, a well-known civil rights organization. Okay, so a civil rights organization, which is liberal, civil rights shit, they have been indicted for directly funding the KKK. Alabama-based organization was funneling millions of dollars to organizations including the Ku Klux Klan and National Socialist Party of America. These people have to invent enemies. It's all puppetry. This is all puppetry. They're giving money to their enemies so they have a reason to live. This is a great quote. Look, here's a quote from the House of Leaves that I just read. It's about the Karen when she's like something about hope or whatever. I don't know if I'm going to find it in time. Fuck. It's like Karen when she like something about hope. Let me see. Is this it? No, it's not. Okay, well, fuck me, I guess. Fuck me. Oh, I found it. Now, without a reason to be afraid, Karen suddenly finds herself without a reason to hope. Without the Ku Klux Klan, the civil rights organization has no reason to exist. Do you see how fake this all is? If they actually achieve civil rights, then they have to disappear, right? So they need, and this is the problem with liberalism, is they need to create an enemy, and because that's the thing that's fueling them. So if they ever defeat an enemy, if they ever finally achieve whatever it is they want, everyone's accepting of everything, then they would have to dissolve themselves and finally enjoy peace. But they can't. They literally can't, because they're addicted. They're addicted to it. Not only that, it's their livelihood. their entire livelihood. Imagine the people getting paid by Southern Poverty Law Center when they realize, oh, there's been a 25% decrease in racism. They're like, oh no, business is down. Business is down. We're going to go under. That's kind of the major business is down. We're going to go under. That's the whole problem with these justice sort of like whatever left companies is when their business is down, it's a good thing. But they are for profit. I guarantee you these people are they're funneling millions of dollars into the Ku Klux Klan. They got profits. Let me tell you, they got profits. They got tons of profits. SPLC paid members of these extremist groups, Blanche told reporters. To that end, it was doing the exact opposite of what it told its donors it was doing. It was not dismantling extremism, but funding it. And in this way, they are what they hate. And I think that this dichotomy that they have to hold inside of them is actively tearing them apart. Because without an enemy, then they have no point in existing. And I think a lot of people's mindsets are like this. Without an enemy, they have no point in existing. And if they have no point in existing, then they have to start looking internally. And they do not want to do that. That's on a human basis. On the big business basis, if they don't have an enemy, then they have no point in remaining an organization, and they would have to dissolve. And that's too many people in power. Too many people would lose their positions. There's a good clip. I'll play this comedy clip. This is a good clip to explain kind of the cognitive dissonance that's happening. This isn't really a funny comedy bit. This is actually more of a eye-opening philosophical investigation into the mindset of the cognitive dissonance and the self-loathing of the left.
What are your jobs?
I sold my soul, and I work for the contractor.
So it's a crowd work clip, which are the worst clips of comedy. But so this guy asked, "What's your job?" And he's talking to like this trans lady, and this trans lady said, "I sold my soul. I work in defense contractor."
You work for a defense contractor? Wow, that is not who I thought you were going to be. Can I get some pronouns going? She, her, okay, got it. Are you a trans woman? May I ask that? Is that right? You're a trans woman. Now, are you the only trans woman working at the defense contractor? No? There's just a defense contractor full of trans women? Just dropping bombs on brown people? How about those pronouns? Okay, so you make motors for what exactly? Rocket motors. Oh, rocket, for rockets. So like when that school in Iran, dude, that's a pickle for a liberal, don't you think? You're like, technically the motors were made by trans women, so who are you on the side of, liberals? But are you a liberal? Yeah. Okay. You're very leftist, but then help me understand the logic. But that's a lot, isn't that a lot of money? I feel like...
He said it's a financial need.
I feel like there's a middle ground somewhere in there. Are you like pro-capitalism? No, you hate capitalism. You just build rocket motors for our military?
This is the cognitive. This is hard to believe. This is hard to even believe. But this is what's going on in their head. It's the cognitive dissonance of they want to be a victim so bad that if anyone stops victimizing them, then they do not have a purpose anymore. Right? This is just an example of someone living with, active, severe cognitive dissonance.
Have you had other jobs? What were those?
From barista.
Was at a Starbucks, dude? It was local. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. How dare I accuse you of working at a terrible corporate entity like Starbucks? I don't understand you one little bit. You go to therapy. You talk about building the rocket motors in therapy?
No, I talk about my trauma.
Okay. Tell me what your trauma is. Your dad is your trauma? Yeah, you know what some people's trauma is? Getting hit by a highly propellant rocket.
Getting hit by a bomb. So, I mean, that's sort of the situation. That's the situation a lot of people, I think, find themselves in, is a lot of people just want to be left alone to chill. Like, I think a lot of people on the right that you would consider on the right are people that just want to chill, aren't really interested in the whole, trans thing. Do what you have to do, but like not in my face and like over there, which I think is like a moderate stance, right? Like, I don't want to have to like it's not like a horrible thing, I don't think, to say like, hey, I'm for trans, but like, over there. But also it's like the mindset of their constant need to be right causes them to always need to pull the victim card. And to pull the victim card, you have to have enemies. And to have enemies, you have to actually find people that hate you. And to find people that hate you, you have to be hateable. So these people actually, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy that they are so unlike. They make themselves, and you can even see this by how they look, they make themselves so unattractive, unappealing, and they talk so annoyingly that it's almost hard to find something to even talk with them about. Like, it's hard to even talk to them on the level of like a person to person. It's like, Jesus, are you trying to make me hate you? And they are subconsciously want you to hate them because they want to have a reason to live. They need to live. They need someone. They thrive off of hatred. That's the only thing that they thrive off of. This is all deep traumatic stuff that I'm sure a lot of liberals have to like work through, but it's like their thing, right? I'm just putting that out there. That I think, and I've not heard a single person talk about this Southern Poverty Law Center funding the KKK. It is such a poetic and perfect point on what's happening everywhere inside of all these people's heads. They're stuck in an Ouroboros, which is a self-eating snake of themselves. It's kind of tragic, really, if you think about it. All right, let's dive into TikTok time. A lot of these TikToks, I'm not going to lie, are kind of like TikToks / news segment. So some of these are just like news stuff that I didn't cover in the last one. So we're going to hop into it. All right, here we go. Here's Erica Kirk. Say Erica Kirk. This is her entrance to appearance after canceling previous public. Okay, well, Jesus. Erica Kirk makes public appearance after canceling previously for security threats. Erica Kirk. Erica Kirk. Is this real? Erica Kirk. Let's hit that one more time. Erica Kirk. Erica Kirk. This is a woman whose husband just was publicly executed. Not even... Actually, it was probably about 6 months ago. Not even a year ago, though. It's been not even a year since her husband was brutally murdered on live broadcast for everyone to see. Erica Kirk! Is any of this? Do you think any of this processes to her as kind of like absurd? Erica Kirk. Let's hear it for Erica Kirk. They got the blast off going. You know, it's real good. Erica Kirk. Joe Rogan went to the, speaking of Joe Rogan being compromised, look at this. Here's Joe Rogan at the White House.
I want to tell everybody how
talking
this
with
happened.
Trump.
I sent President Trump some information. We have a gigantic opiate problem in this country, obviously. In 2024, more than 80,000 people died of overdoses. It's a horrible number. And there's more than 5 million people that are addicted to opiates right now in this country. With one dose of Ibogaine, more than 80% of people are free of that addiction. With 2 doses, it's more than 90%. I sent him that information. The text message came back, sounds great. Do you want FDA approval? Let's do it. It was literally that quick.
Yeah, you know what that means? That means that Trump wants to curry your favor. Joe Rogan must be the most stupid person in the world. I mean, I'm genuinely, he might be just that stupid. Because he says on all of his podcasts, he's like, oh yeah, I'm not. I think there's a podcast of him literally saying, there's a clip of him saying, yeah, I'm the most, what is it? Viable, or I don't know what it was, but like the corruptible or something like that, like where he says like, oh yeah, I'm the most uncontrollable guy possible. It's like, dude doesn't realize that he just got a $500 million, that's $500 million deal from Spotify, and then he texts the president, and the president's like, yeah, you got it. You got your Ibogaine shit. He's like, what is that? I don't even care. I don't even care. Joe Rogan's texting the president, and he thinks that he's not involved. He's not somehow implicated or co-opted, or... I mean, if he's even had, like, CEOs on. He's had, like, Palantir guy, he's like Mark Andreessen or something like that. He's had all these people on. They're like the evilest evil people on his show. And he's also sponsored by Perplexity, which is like an AI company. So it's like he can't really even talk bad about AI because he's already controlled. So Joe Rogan at this point is like fully puppet mode. I mean, I barely can even listen to him anymore. I listen to him with Theo Von because Theo Von's like seems uncontrolled, but he's also sponsored by Perplexity. But he does say some wild shit. So let's see what this is.
Popular pasta sauce company Prego is joining.
Oh shit.
Popular pasta sauce company Prego is joining the tech world by officially launching a device that sits on your table and records dinner conversations. Technology reporter Mike Danielewski is tracking it. All right, so what is this Prego pasta sauce collaboration all about?
Yeah, so this is a device that's called the Connection Keeper. It's like a small little puck that's designed to sit on your dinner table and record your conversations. It's a recording device at its core. And Prego has partnered up with an organization called StoryCorps, which is a nonprofit that basically collects stories from various Americans and preserves them at the Library of Congress for posterity, for historical purposes. Prego's idea is what better place to find.
That is super weird. They store stories at the Library of Congress. So Prego. Also, why Prego? Like the pasta company, why Prego? I don't know why. Maybe it tested well. But they want stories. Here's the stories. I'll tell you a story that you're going to get around the dinner table. You're going to get the story of, here's a story that you'll get at the, this is what Prego's going to get at the dinner table with one of these devices. You know your Uncle Tom? Oh, maybe Uncle Tom's a bad. God damn it. Uncle, Uncle Jackson. You know what Uncle Jackson got caught doing yesterday? Uncle Jackson got caught selling weed outside of the school again. Now, your Uncle Jackson, we brought him in. We told him it's not cool. Can't do that. And you know what Jackson did? Jackson drove his car into the support beam, the support column, at 120 miles per hour. And ended his own life. Your Uncle Jackson's dead. Uncle Jackson is dead. And he did leave a note, but the note was so soaked in his blood that it is illegible except for the word "fuck you." That's the kind of word. That's the kind of story that Prego's going to get from these things. You're just going to get tragic stories. Here's another story that Prego's going to get from these to store in the Library of Congress. It's going to start real quiet. It's going to be like, well, who wants to say a prayer? All right, let's say it. Bow your heads in prayer, please. God, please thank us. We want to thank you for this meal, and we awfully hope that you can find it in your heart to supply us with a little bit of money so that, Aunt Christine can get a knee replacement. She's been awfully hurting lately, and after she got rejected from the company, and after they replaced her job with one of them damn AIs. Sorry to curse for you, Father, but one of them damn AIs. She no longer has the health insurance to support her knee. So God, we hope that you find it in your hearts to supply her with the funds necessary to replace her knee. That's one of the stories that you're gonna get from the Prego, this Prego puck to store in the Library of Congress. Here's another conversation that you're gonna get. This one's maybe one that's hits a little close to home. You know what I watched yesterday? This isn't me, by the way. You know what I watched yesterday? I watched a documentary. It was a pretty interesting documentary, probably about 3 hours long. I'll send you a link if you want to watch it later, but it said some pretty interesting things about the Holocaust. Now, I know how this is a conversation that the Prego puck's going to start ringing. It's going to start vibrating. It said some pretty interesting things about the how they actually, how they kill people, how like in morgues and cemeteries and stuff, how they turn bodies to ashes? They use a jet propeller or like a jet engine to burn at such a high temperature the body that it turns to ash. You know how long it takes to do one of those with a jet engine? This is one of the conversations that they're going to get from the Prego puck. And that's just a taste. That's just a taste of the American conversations going on right now. Here's another conversation. Do you think that it's going to be like real hushed? You don't think that shit was real, right? You don't think that shit that happened with Trump was real? Makes me wonder if all the other ones were fake. Doesn't seem real. No one seems upset. The Prego puck.
Find American stories then around the dinner table. But Kira, of course, every time we talk about recording devices, there are some privacy questions that go along with that. Namely, why would you want to record your family's dinner conversations? Well, Prego says that this is actually a pretty low-tech device at the end of the day. There is no connection to the internet. There's no Bluetooth, so it doesn't connect to your phone. If you want to upload this audio to StoryCorps, you got to do it the old-fashioned way. You have to plug it into your laptop. And this is pretty unique for a device in 2026. There's no artificial intelligence. Prego says they plan to build less than 100 of these devices, and they go on sale next week for $20. You also get some pasta and, of course, pasta sauce along with it.
That's nice. Kind of reminds me when they gave you a donut if you got the vaccination. Remember that when they were doing that? Here's a video of a man. This is a video of a man pretending to be a bird on TikTok for donations. Looks like maybe India or like a really impoverished part of like the Middle East. Not too sure where this guy is, but he is dressed as a bird, or a bush of some sort. And he is standing on a stick, but also maybe in the wall. Maybe it's a forced perspective situation. Like maybe this is a painting on the wall, and his head's through the wall. Either way, he is doing this for.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Unblinking. That's the future. It's an eerie look into the future.
It is said that California is a place.
This is Gavin Newsom's wife. I haven't actually watched this clip. Someone sent this to me.
Where you can see the whole world in a single day. From the high Sierras to our pristine deserts to the San Joaquin River Parkway, the Golden State encompasses landscapes that deserve to be experienced and preserved for generations to come. For me, these places have always been deeply personal. As a girl, nature was my sanctuary, helping me to heal from a horrific accident. And now it's also a sanctuary for the governors and my kids. It's why we made a home near the American River, so our kids could experience the healing power of the outdoors. And so it's not surprising that to this day, once my kids enter a state park or a national park, it's really challenging to get them to leave.
Oh, wait. What? I thought it was going to... The comment said that she admit to killing her sister. Did Gavin Newsom's wife kill her sister? Didn't she run her over with a I think the thing is that she ran her sister over with a golf cart and killed her sister when they were like 7. I think that's the thing. That's a Prego Puck story right there. You remember that time when you killed your sister with a golf cart when we were 7? Mrs. Gavin Newsom's wife. Here's an interesting connection with the Donald Trump shooter. This is a Twitter account posted the name Cole Allen, which is the name of the shooter, I think last year.
This has to be one of the most crazy coincidences I've ever seen in my entire life, and I've done some research and still have no explanation for how this is possible. This account was made in 2023, and the only thing it's posted is Cole Allen, which is the exact name of the guy who tried to shoot up the White House Correspondents' Dinner last night. And this is his banner. As you can tell, it's from a website called Time Machine, but it gets even crazier. Watch what happens when you overlay Trump's infamous Butler, Pennsylvania assassination attempt picture with this account's banner.
Yeah, it's really
As you can
bizarre.
see, they line up absolutely perfectly. And this isn't a fake or edited image either, it's the exact banner. On top of all of that, the account was connected via web and has no location available. My first thought was that some hacker's just messing with everybody and changed the date of this post. But doing that would require deep direct access to X's core servers and database records, which is nearly impossible. This is unlikely even in the most extreme cases, like the 2020 Twitter security incident. Hackers gained access to tools that allowed them to take over accounts and post new content, but they did not include features to retroactively change a post creation date in the database. So what do you think?
Crazy.
Is all of this just a coincidence? Is Elon Musk messing with us, or is something deeper going on?
Yeah, I don't know how it's like always one of these things comes up to just like, it's really strange. Like Cole Allen is kind of like a weird name too. Like it's not a common name, Cole Allen. And it's the guy's only post. Bizarre. It's one of those things that's like just bizarre. Posted in 2023, an account opens, types Cole Allen, and then never posts again. Okay. Here's Goymax.
Dude, what's the move tonight? Probably just gonna like watch some circus, eat some bread, attach my soul to a lustful witch, and just like chill.
Dude, let's cop a 24-pack of poison first and just absolutely soul tied to lust demons.
So down.
Dude, this is going to take us so far away from our purpose and distract us incredibly.
So down.
God will frown upon us miserably.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then we'll go to church on Sunday, and everything's gonna be chill.
We'll repent.
Yeah.
Bad.
Bet. This is going to take us so far away from our purpose. That's what I'm talking to you guys about. Your purpose. It's about finding it and locking in. Here's I'll just end with this. This is an image of Cole Allen with what appears to be Israeli Defense Forces t-shirt. Didn't take long to find a connection to Israel, unless this is photoshopped, which of course you cannot trust anything posted now. Here's a Fox News reporter cutting off a person that was there at the shooting, talking about the shooting.
Quickly tell you, I was sitting next to Caroline Levitt, the press secretary's husband. He was one of our guests. He was seated right next to me, and right as the dinner was starting, the national anthem happened, and then he kind of leaned over and said, I watched you on TV, you do a great job. You need to be very safe. And he was just very serious when he said that to me. And he kind of looked around the room and he said, there are some...
Cut off.
Sounds like we lost Aisha's phone there. And this happens, by the way, especially when you have so many people.
This happens, by the way. This happens all the time when people are about to say the most important part of the sentence. This happens, by the way. Here's a very interesting one. This is talking about Caroline Levitt. This is her talking before the event.
It'll be funny. It'll be entertaining. There will be some shots fired tonight. He is ready.
Are we living in a simulation? This is what I'm saying. This is puppetry, guys.
Fired tonight. He is ready. Some shots fired. There will be some shots fired tonight. He is ready to rumble. I will tell you, this speech tonight will be classic Donald J. Trump. It'll be funny. It'll be entertaining. There will be some shots fired tonight in the room. So everyone should tune in. It's going to be really great. I'm looking forward to hearing it.
Strange. Just strange. Just putting this here for posterity's sake. I don't know if those clips will be up in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend. If you didn't, tell me why below. As always, I'll see you next week. Let's play this out with this song. This song was... Sometimes when I read, I like to listen to a song in the background. And this song, I feel like, fit pretty heavy with the House of Leaves. So I'm just going to play it. And then I'll let us go.
As the rain sheds her feathers